Okay, before I get into this topic, I'm just going to say right now, my passion has been sparked because of something I just read online, okay, on a post of a book review, which I'll talk about in a second. But yes, you read that right. I do agree with the people who say, oh, processed food isn't killing anyone. You're right, it's not killing anyone. That's the problem. It's not killing anyone. Do you realize that in 1990, there was only one state, actually, one state in the entire United States that had an obesity rate of 15% or higher. Just one, Louisiana. Everyone else was lower than 15%. Today, there's only one state that has an obesity rate of 20% or lower. Everybody else is higher. In fact, there's no one lower than 20%. Every other state has an obesity rate of more than 20%. Most have obesity rates near 30%. And some, it's over 30 now, over 35. It's crazy. It is getting worse, and it has to do with the food industry, and the food supply. And yes, I'll agree with you. Look, I don't want to sound like some kind of crazed food advocate that goes around slapping pizza slices out of people's hands in public, okay? I don't do that. I get it. I get how much we love our processed food. Why? Because they're designed to be addictive. And that's what it is. It's addiction, whether you want to recognize it or not. Now, okay, cookies and ice cream isn't going to kill anybody now and then, right? This is what I read on a book review of a very prestigious food advocate who has been spreading the word about the food industry and what is going on with the food supply in America for years now. Some people just chalk it up to fear-mongering and, oh, give me a break. A little cookie and ice cream won't kill anybody now and then. No, it won't. You're right, it won't. In fact, eating the standard American diet isn't really killing anyone now, is it? No. Instead, it just makes you grow sick. So instead of growing old, you get to grow sick. And in your late 50s or mid 60s, you get to pay anywhere from $300 to $800 a month for medications that you need because of all this processed food you ate your whole life. Do you understand? The standard American diet is not occasional cookies and ice cream. It's 80% processed food. So that's what we eat. The majority of us, I mean, I don't eat it anymore, but the majority of us eat the standard American diet. Consists of 70 to 90% processed foods. So on average, you figure most people are eating about 80% processed foods. Okay, it's your breakfast, it's your lunch, it's every time you go out to eat, it's every time you have a sandwich. It's crazy. And then people get overwhelmed, and that's the problem. People get, give me a break. I can't eat anything. Well, nothing's healthy, so we got to die of something, right? Yeah. Well, you're not going to die from it. Guess what? Instead, you're going to have osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, thyroid disorders, autoimmune disease, allergies that you never had when you were younger, skin diseases. The list goes on and on. Everything I just mentioned is directly tied in to what you eat. Look, I kid you not. What's going on with the food and the food industry is no joke. And they are tied in with the medical industry. Fact, 70% of the antibiotics sold in the United States are sold to the food industry. Let me repeat that. 70% of antibiotic drugs are sold to the food industry because the animals being raised in those CAFOs, the concentrated animal feeding operations, they get sick. You feed cows corn, they get sick. Okay? It's no joke. They don't want you to die. They want you to grow sick instead of growing old. We all get to grow sick. Not to mention the overweight and obese people who are living in bodies that can, barely function on a normal level. I mean, people who can't even bend over to tie their shoes, literally. What kind of quality of life is that? Okay, so I came inside because I want to read part of this book review that I wrote that just kind of set me off and just had me thinking about things. One of the points this person makes, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but they say, why all the stress over food? I'm sick of the clean eating movement. Sick of the clean eating movement, really? Okay, that's very interesting. Food is not dirty, laundry is, and all this stuff. Stress kills you more than anything else, and that is exactly what this book is doing. It makes you stressed about everything you eat. And this is a real problem. See, people like myself and the person who wrote this book, we're not trying to make you stressed about everything you eat, okay? We're just trying to make you think about everything you eat and what it may be doing to your health, as well as the health of society and the earth, okay? We've got serious issues that all are directly related to the food supply. Now, people, like she said, it makes me stressed about everything we eat. And then there's a statement here about, so basically you can't eat anything and might as well hate yourself for everything you do eat. Well, here's another problem. That's like saying if there was no processed food, we would have nothing to eat on earth. You see, and people think that's normal. People think, oh, I can't eat anything if I can't eat processed food. Why? Okay. If the food industry actually didn't evolve into what it is and actually produced only real food all of these years, and if we still had all of those local farmers that we used to have when I was growing up and when my parents were growing up and when their parents were growing up, there would be nothing to eat, right? And if you believe that, you're absolutely crazy. Of course there's other things to eat. You just don't know what they are because you're being programmed from the time you are born to be a consumer of processed food. By the time people are 2 or 3 years old, they're already in the grocery store bugging their mom for the sugared foods that they want. It's like I said, we are dangerously becoming a society that doesn't even know what food is anymore. I mean, think about it. If you actually tell people, look, that's processed food, you should eat whole foods, which are real foods, and they say, oh my God, I can't eat anything. Well, what are you eating now? You can't be eating anything that's healthy, and you're probably not. Do you want to know why? The standard American diet, 80% processed food. And you don't even know what you're eating is processed food until we tell you what processed food really is. And then you're like, oh, God, it's everything. No, it's not. But you know what? If we don't start demanding real food, and we don't start demanding clean food, we won't ever have it to eat anymore. Because nobody's going to supply it if we don't buy it. You have to give it a little more effort. Think about it. You'll find things to eat that are not processed food. And you know what? You can really, really enjoy real food. That's the message we're trying to get through to people. It's not about going into your kitchen and cleaning out all your cupboards and your entire refrigerator and then going to the store buying all real food and replacing it. That is not practical for everybody. Some people do that. And it works, they love it. They just run with it and never look back. But that's not practical for everyone. We get that. But you can't stop spreading the message. Why? Because it's bigger than just individual health. Are you happy with the cost of healthcare? Are you? Can you afford health insurance? Right? Everybody's mad at the insurance companies. Oh, they get so much money. They're paying for all of these drugs that we're taking, or a lot of them. Actually, they can't afford to pay for all of them. That's why when you're in your 60s, you're going to be paying anywhere from $300 to $800 a month for medications if you keep eating a lifetime of processed food. I mean, honestly, it's a problem that is easily overlooked because we just think if we don't eat these sugary foods and drink these sugary drinks and go to all these restaurants every single week or even every day in some cases, that we're somehow depriving ourselves, right? It's deprivation to be healthy. And that's how backwards we think about things. And don't forget, it's not just about losing weight. There are people who are normal BMI, what is considered a normal BMI, and have health problems. Trust me, I've seen them. I actually had a couple of clients last year who fell within normal weight and had health issues that can be corrected by changing their diet. I also had person thinking they were eating the healthiest diet on earth. I'm a vegan. I've been a vegan for over a year. Okay, you've been a vegan for over a year, but you weigh 240 pounds and you're on 7 different I think I think it was more like 9 or 10 different medications. You know, and this is what we're dealt. Oh, okay, we've got all this information online, and yet somebody becomes a vegan and obviously is not doing the vegan diet properly. And she was iron deficient to boot. Iron deficiency. I mean, it's one of the things this woman said in this book review was, what about just preaching about sensible nutrition? Eat your fruits and veggies, eat in moderation, and exercise. That's all great advice, but it's not that simple. And we really have to start waking up to what's going on around us. We are being manipulated and controlled, and the news will never talk about this. Do you want to know why the news does not talk about this massive problem with the food within the food industry? Because food companies have already, on several occasions, threatened to withdraw their advertising from those stations. And if they lose those advertising dollars from the food industry, they will go under, bankrupt. Boom. They will not be able to function. This is why you don't hear about this on the news or from anybody who is really influential, right? No, instead, you got to hear about it from people like me and others, and then you're always going to have the opposition saying, oh, it's just a bunch of fear-mongering. It's not. It's very real, and it's all verifiable. This is what's happening. It's a crime, in my opinion. I mean, it's not really. The food industry can sell all of this stuff legally, and as long as we keep buying it, they're going to keep selling it. If we start demanding healthier food, they will find ways to supply it. Trust me on that. It's already happening. And I think that's all for now. So until next time, love yourself enough to eat whole foods. Eat real food.